All right, hey, good evening, guys. Welcome. We'll go ahead and kick this thing off. And I know we had to reschedule from last week, and there was some confusion. Didn't with all of the with managers, we were all over the place in meetings, just coming back from Bassmasters, and I wanted to get a little bit more information on a couple of topics before we kick this off this evening. And we got that. So appreciate you guys being with us. We're going to take a break from a little bit of training tonight to go over a couple topics that I want to discuss that have come up. And just make sure we're kind of all on the same page as we are halfway through the year already and getting ready to go into the new, the second part of the year here. And we're already have our eyes on 2022 already. So again, it's been one incredible year. We are starting to see the slowdown a little bit at the stores now. People are still buying, but we are starting to see become more of a seasonal environment now. We know there's a major backup on new boats. We know we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with trying to get supply and demand. But it's been an incredible ride, and all three brands. With Bass Pro Cabela's and in our Lowrance, the sales have been great. Active Target, Ghost, I know we're hurting on, but the Carbon promotion went extremely well. We're still FS9's doing what it needs to do. Simrad's driving saltwater, and probably our biggest increase in the Americas this year is with our sailboat community and the B&G. We're up triple digits year to date, which our biggest customer for B&G in the United States is West Marine. And they have been knocking B&G out of the park in the sailboat strong areas, which, we know what parts of the country that they are. So, we're firing on all cylinders. We've had to change the game plan. I don't know how many times. This is a normal time of year that we would typically start to slow down at Bass Pro Cabela's, where West Marine, it's full force. This is their busiest time of the year, especially next week is one of the busiest weeks of West Marine. But we're still seeing the store traffic, and we'll go over a couple things here this evening. So again, can't thank you guys for the work that you've done out there. It does not go unnoticed. I want to thank the team, the ProStaff team that helped at Bassmasters, or at the Bassmasters event a couple weeks ago in Texas. It was, let's just say, hot. We were the fortunate ones. We were in air conditioned, but some of our vendors were in stables. And when I'm from Florida, and when I'm hot, it's hot. There was and that was funny on Sunday. The lady at the hotel said, well, this is one of the record-breaking heat days in the last couple years. Well, that's just kind of great to know. But it was hot, but the ProStaff team did a great job at Bassmasters. We had a really, really good booth set up, and it was good to see the people out. It kind of really lets us know that we've turned the page on COVID. It was good to see that many fishermen out. And with ICAST coming, it's just good to know. So a couple topics. These are the topics that we're going to focus on. And if you can, I don't know if anybody's online. Can you see my slides? There's not going to be too much in slides, but I just have an outline up. Can everybody see it?
We got them.
All right, good. Hey, I'm getting better at this thing. Just a couple things I want to go over tonight. These are the topics. They're not going to be in any particular order. Just a couple things that I want to talk about, make sure we're on the same page as we move into the second half of this year and really, and go into full force. So first and foremost, I want to talk about COVID. I had a talk with our HR today. Everybody's aware of the updated COVID policy from the CDC. And Bass Pro, Cabela's, and West Marine have made some changes in the last couple of weeks to their policy. So what we're saying is if there's no state, federal, local laws, and the store is participating in, they're following CDC guidance, I'm asking you to use some common sense with the mask. So we're not saying, I'm not going to be the COVID police, not going to sit here and say, have you got a vaccine? Have you not got the vaccine? But as you can see from what they put out, I can tell you West Marine, as of 2 weeks ago, had this on the doors that, the mask, that you can ease off the mask a little bit. And we've noticed that Bass Pro and Cabela's has also, which also we are getting, we are full, we're good to go in certain places. There may still be some key states that are a little late in the game, but we have, especially last week, we kicked off some of our our seminars. We did them in the Texas stores coming out of Bassmasters. So we're finally at that point where we were all hoping we would get to. There were no mask wear. No one had a mask at Bassmasters. So just be smart there. We're not playing the COVID police. But if you've had if you've had your vaccine and there's no state, federal, local law or anything, saying that you have to, then, you can use your discretion with that mask. I would tell you, I would ask you guys just to watch yourself out there. You feel like you don't feel well, just call us and say, hey, but we are at that point. We were hoping we would get here in June and July, and I see us getting there. Like I said, it's really good. I went into a couple stores last week. I think it was the first time I went in without a mask on. It was a good feeling to see people's faces again, even if you're as ugly as I am. But just be smart about it, guys. But we can relax a little bit on the COVID. Coming up next month, probably the biggest event in the boating world, ICAST 2021. We are full go for Orlando, just like we did the year before last. It runs from the 20th to the 22nd. And like we did 2 years ago, we will host a ProStaff get-together meeting on Thursday night, the 22nd, from 4:30 to 6 o'clock in the convention center, and I've got the room up there. And what we do for this is I will be there, as well as Steph. Steph will be making the trip to Florida this year, so if you guys are coming, you'll get a chance to meet her as well. We have guys from our pro team available. Our product managers and some of our management team are all in there. So our little get together goes from 4:30 to 6 o'clock. If you're coming to ICAST, or you would like to come and be a part of this, come in and see us in this meeting, you'll have a little presentation on where we are in products, what we got coming, kind of get a little insight on where we're going to go for 2022. And you'll also get to meet some of the key management people on our team that will be there. Again, a lot of you guys came 2 years ago to this. All I ask is if you're going to make the trip to ICAST, let myself and Steph know so I know how many people we're going to have in that convention center room that night. It's inside the convention center, but it's not in the hall where ICAST is actually at. If you come in the main doors, I'll have a map for the guys that are going. Come in, hang a left, and that's where the conference rooms are, and we'll be set up in there. Like the Lowrance Pro Team meeting goes before, and then we'll ask a couple of the guys from the Pro Team to stand back. So you guys have your chance to ask any questions on any of the Lowrance Pros, the product managers. We'll have guys there that actually built the active target transducer, guys that actually built the Ghost trolling motor. So it'll be a chance for you guys to ask any questions that you want. Again, ICAST 20 through 22 July. It's about 1 month from today. So let me know soon so we know how many people that to expect in the room, or let Steph know. I don't have any insight on who we need for staff yet. We have reached out to a couple of pro staffers in Florida, but as we get more on what the booth is going to look like, we'll be reaching out to a couple more. Right now, I just don't have any insight on what our needs are. It depends upon how many people Navico brings to this. So keep that in mind, coming very soon. One thing I do want to talk about real quick before I get into the inventory is we'll talk about some social media postings, Facebook, whatever they are out there, Facebook, Twitter, you name them. I'm going to ask you, I need a favor here. I don't want to be this. We've got to really take a hard look at what we put up on Facebook. Not here to tell you what you can say and what you cannot say. But we had an incident come up that a soon-to-be pro staffer had some really, I won't say questionable, they were over-the-line comments on his social media page. We were actually notified by 2 customers within 15 minutes of each other. And they were just, it's one thing to say something about politics. It's one thing that, but when you start going down an avenue like that, we can't have that in the company. So I can't tell you what to say and what not to say on your social media. What I'm asking you to do is, if you're one that really has very opinions, your opinions, or your beliefs, you're really, maybe don't advertise the fact that you're a Lowrance pro staffer on your Facebook. That's if you can, do that for me. Again, I know we're going through, I know it's a little shaky out there. I know the political theater is very heated. I know there's some sensitive topics out there in the world. It ain't a perfect world. I'm fully aware of that. I just want to make sure that we're not mixing Lowrance Navico business with personal business. So if you're one that's really deep into some of these views or really deep into the politics, I mean, it's one thing to poke fun at a basketball game or a football game or the hockey game. But if you're one that's really firing some views off out there, maybe take off the part that you're with, please don't affiliate yourself with us, because that could come back and really put us in a jackpot as well as yourself. Again, there's no demand on you guys to post social media. We ask you that, when you catch your nice fish, or you're out there cruising with Simrad, or you're sailing with B&G, to share some pictures. But let's just kind of be a little more sensible about it. And I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. We talked about the COVID already. Inventory. We are in a we all know what's going on in the world today. It's a fight to get our hands on materials. From cars, there's 2x4s and construction companies that, people are paying $15 for a 2x4. We all know the inventory constraints. I wish I could sit here and say it's going to be cleared up tomorrow, but we're going to be dealing with this well into the first of next year. With that said, Navico is very fortunate the setup we have. We don't have the constraints that our competitors are having. One of our competitors visited stores last week and basically told the store managers, "Hey, good to see you. Just here to tell you that we're probably going to be out for another 8 to 12 weeks." I can tell you we're sitting on several $1 million of inventory. West Marine has everything you can think of: radars, autopilots, 12-inch units, 9-inch units. In Bass Pro Cabela's, they're sitting on a good amount of inventory. Understand that we're hurting on Ghost. Understand that we're hurting on Active Target. Outside of those 2 products, and we just pulled inventory today, it's a good amount of inventory. I've gone into some Bass Pros and there's nothing on the Humminbird side. I've gone into some West Marines and there's holes where it should have been a Garmin. We are really sitting in the catbird seat here with inventory. Is this going to get better tomorrow? Does this mean our inventory is going to get worse? No one knows. So make sure when we're in those stores that we exploit this as much as possible. If there's places that we can put extra displays up, if there's bare spots in displays, that we can get some more of our stuff up. Like, for example, West, one of the things that we need to make sure West understands, like your big flagship locations, San Diego, New York, any of the flagships in Florida, the big stores are always going to be sitting on inventory. The small stores will have to call around. Yes, it's not necessarily in the store where they can hand it out the door real quick, but it's a phone call away that they can have it shipped within a day or 2. Bass Pro Cabela's, if there's inventory in their DC, they call it 902. And the customer pays for it that day with a credit card from that store and they order it, the store still gets credit for it. So there's still a good amount of inventory out there. Work with your stores. If you have any questions, especially on weekends, don't be afraid to call me. I also have a way of pulling inventory up that I can tell you if it's not in your store, I can tell you where it's at. But there's a good amount of inventory. So, I mean, I'm hearing customers saying, and we're also hearing it both ways. Well, I want to wait till a certain brand comes back in because I really want that brand. Well, that certain brand has already told their customer base they're looking at another 8 to 12 weeks of getting inventory in the store. These are people that we need to be converting to Simrad, that we need to be converting to Lowrance, get them into Navico products. When you're dealing with customers and they're on the fence, and we need to be honest with them. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, I got inventory. But in a month from now, I don't know what that's going to be if the demand continues to be as high as it is. But there is inventory. There's a good amount. Active Target, Ghost, I wish I could sit here and say it was going to get better. It's not. I don't see us in fact, we're not taking any more new orders till after August on Active Target and Ghost. We're so backed up on getting it out to our customers right now. There are some pieces that we need that, we have to wait to get our hands on too. And it's just a high demand for Active Target and Ghost. So keep in mind, again, get inventory, be patient. I know a lot of you guys on the ProStaff team, I know what you're waiting on. You're waiting on Ghost, you're waiting on Active Target. I wish I could just go like this and 50 to 60 of them would show up, but I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. I don't see it getting any better till after August on that. So if you guys, I just don't want you guys every day going out to the mailbox and seeing if it's there. I don't see that getting better anytime soon. Okay, so we talked about social media. ProStaff meeting schedule. We do a meeting once a month. It's the third Tuesday of every month. We had scheduled a quarterly meeting once a quarter where we would talk about Navico business for the quarter and all that. We're going to slim that down a little bit. So next month, there would have been 2 back-to-back meetings on Tuesday. We're going to just stay to a once a month meeting. So if we'll talk about business first, and then we'll have a product expert or somebody on to do training on a special product, or somebody from the service team. I'm working on getting service involved so that you guys can hear a little bit about what the top service calls are. So when you're dealing with your customers and he says, well, hey, my screen's black. Okay, we know if we hit the power button 5 times, it'll come back up. Things like that. But so next month, there's only going to be 1 meeting. It's going to be the normal ProStaff meeting. I just don't want to become a burden that we're wasting your guys' time. That I want the meetings to be very productive and that we're putting out good information. So we'll stick to the third Tuesday of every month from this point on through the rest of the year. So you'll see a cancellation for the 1 meeting, but remember that the other meeting is still on. I want to talk about a term called MRP and UPP. MRP, manufacturer retail price. UPP is what we call unilateral pricing policy. All of us on the sales team, this is beat into our heads. What I want to make sure you guys understand is MRP, it's manufacturer retail price. All of our vendors have to sell for the same price. If we offer vendor A, we have to a discount, we have to offer it to everybody. Then we have to remove MRP. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is I appreciate everybody's initiative, but the last couple of weeks there's been some close ones, and I'll give you an example. If we say an HDS Live is $32.99 or whatever the price is, and if you buy this today, we'll give you a free whatever, this thing or whatever, then that is an altered price and it's an MRP violation. Any violation of MRP, the person, the customer that violates MRP can You know, there's a penalty. They could be warned. They also could be not allowed to buy Navico product for a while. So we got to be careful that we don't alter MRP. So a couple of our guys had some swag, and they offered swag up. Hey, the first 6 customers that buy a certain product, you can have a free hat, a shirt. Okay, if that item falls under MRP, that is an MRP violation. Where we got lucky was the product was not MRP. It was, for example, it was a carbon, and it's not MRP. Anything on MRP, not on MRP, any customer can sell for any price they want. There's no restrictions on it. So I love the initiative. My suggestion is if you have swag, and I know a lot of times we send it to some of you guys for events, maybe use it like first 10 people to come visit, first 10 people that make a purchase. By all means, I love the creativity. Don't stop. But if you have any questions on these things, this is what I'm here for. Call me. Hey, Chris, I want to do this. Am I okay? Boom, good, rock and roll. Do you need me to send you anything? Because we are going to start getting back in the next couple of weeks into these seminar events again that we like to do. And, you know, when we do a big one, we know we're going to get a good crowd. We like to do some giveaways. So just be careful that we don't do anything to alter a price. And altering the price doesn't necessarily mean dropping the price. It means if you buy A, which had an MRP, and add B to it, you pay C. Well, if it had MRP, you've got an MRP violation. So I don't want to see anybody getting that, but I love the initiative that you guys have out there. So just give me a call if you got any questions on it. Hey, you know me, I'm game to play. But we just make sure we're playing fair out there. CMAP, probably where I pull my hair out here. If you guys read the newsletter, we were wondering why everybody was having difficulty getting their CMAP update, and that's because the email address was wrong. Here is the corrected information, and it was in the ProStaff newsletter that we sent out the first of the month. Brandy was out for a while. She was at Bassmaster. She is back. I believe she has some help, and she's in full force. So for you guys that want your download, I am still trying to get my hands on the CMAP cards that we promised each and every one of you guys that you could have your own personal demo card to take to the stores. The instant I get an answer, I will share it with Steph. She will get emails out, and we will let you know when you can get that. But in the meantime, for your personal unit, you can get your free download. Follow these instructions. And if you have any questions, here's the email address. You can also email Tracy Cox also. She was on that call with Brandy a couple months ago when we went over this. Apologize for all the confusion here. Getting CMAP out, we've had some really good positive feedback on CMAP, especially in the coastal areas. We've had some good reviews written from the Florida groups. A couple boaters out of Florida fished the Gulf of Mexico, had given it 5 stars. There were some good reviews on it. It's just a matter of getting inventory in stores and making our customers aware of it. But again, I'm working as hard as I can to get you guys these cards. And again, if you're having trouble with the update, here's Tracy's email. Reach out to her and we'll get you that not that update, but that free download for your personal unit. Just a reminder, the download will only work on your unit. The card that we're trying to send you will work. You can take it with you when you go to Bass Pro, West Marine, etc., and put it in a unit and show it to your customers. So pretty much got through that. Couple things that are going on. Again, Bass Pro Cabela's, the HDS carbon sale was huge. There was a couple places where it didn't go well, but then there were places that had 25, 30 people on a waiting list waiting to get their hands on one. The goal behind the HDS Carbon 12 was there was a reason why we only put the 83-200 transducer in it. And that was because, not that we needed any help, but it was a good upsell for a customer to go ahead and purchase active target. So when they purchased the active target, and even if they went out and purchased a 3-in-1, it's still cheaper than what the price would have been on HDS Live. Did really, really, really well for it. There's still some left over if you guys want to push them out. I like the photograph Dale Wyman put up a couple weeks ago of an empty counter where he had them. And again, I like it when you guys do these posts. These posts go a long way, and not everybody in Navico's on Facebook, so I always pull a couple off every week and show them in the global call with our managers. So, but this is a really good when you see an empty counter, which once was HDS Live carbons. The Father's Day was pretty much the last big push for Bass Pro Cabela's till we get into the holidays. So for you guys that have been working the Bass Pro Cabela's pretty hard, you're going to see when the rest of July and August, we're going to pump it down just a little bit. Normally this time of year, we would back it down a lot. This is very, very slow time for Bass Pro Cabela's. Everybody's tournament fishing, everybody's out for the summer, but we're still seeing a decent amount of traffic in the stores. The other reason where you guys, we're keeping a little bit extra in the stores is we also know the employment situation. We know Bass Pro and Cabela's is like every other retailer out there. They're having trouble trying to hire people. And I read the promo mesh reports, and they're almost all the same. There was no one working in the marine department. There was no one working in the fishing department at Bass Pro Cabela's. West is pretty good. They're pretty decent with their staffing. But Bass Pro more follows a retail sign sale, kids, college associates, etc. With our pro staffer in that store, if that is the only person that the customer encounters when they come to the store, there's a good chance we just put extra poker chips on the table here that customer is going to leave with a Navico product. Because a lot of times that customer will come and they may have already in their head, yes, I want a Lowrance unit, or they may have in their head, I want a competitor's unit, but I really don't know why. If there's no one for them to talk to in that store, then that customer leaves, and it's a lost sale that we could have had. Just because, and then out some of the stores, I know that guys will come back and say, hey, we're a little low on inventory. That doesn't mean we still don't go to the store. We can meet and greet customers. I would go back a little bit more on Facebook now. I know we said we didn't want to incite a crowd and we didn't want 25, 30 people, but as we're going into the summer now, I would open it back up if, we're going to start doing some seminars and some events, and encourage people to come and see you. Some of you have kind of already opened that door, and that's great. As we now kind of walked out of the closet with COVID and kind of getting back to normal here. But yeah, don't let that distract you. Just if some of these guys come just to hear you talk, and they might not buy from you today. Don't be discouraged. Some of you take it personal, get discouraged, and I really appreciate that initiative. And especially I've seen it in West Marine. That customer will come in and he'll pick my mind, and I'll put a sailboat package together for him, or I'll put a Simrad auto pack. Okay, thank you. But 2-3 weeks later, I'll look at my sales numbers. Where the hell did that come from? And I'll call the store. Oh yeah, you remember that guy you did that pack? Well, he came in and bought $10,000 worth of that product. So you don't necessarily get to see the fruits of your work right then. It may be a couple weeks. So don't let that discourage you guys out there. You guys are doing exactly what we ask you to do, and that's represent the company. Be there for questions. Be there for the support. So again, Bass Pro, yeah, you'll see it wind down a little bit, but we've got the hook reveal going on right now. FS9 is that's our product. Talk everybody to death on the Elite FS9. That package is the deal. That's the one that if I go to a Bass Pro, I guarantee 9 times out of 10 they'll be low on the FS9s and have 7s. We're going through that. We want that to kind of be the focal point. The FS9 is doing what it needs to do. We've got the hook reveal mail-in rebate, And you're starting to see we're getting more of those hook twos back in the stores, those 4Xs, if we can get them back on end caps. West Marine is firing on all cylinders. This is their time of the year. Any West Marine pro staffer next week, if you want to work Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, I know Steph's out the rest of this week, call me. You can work. This is one of West Marine's biggest weeks, the couple days leading up, actually not this week, next week, leading up to the 4th of July. They will be packed, and we got the crews on rebate. Simrad cruises are on rebate. That's a very popular unit for the recreational boater. So if anybody at West wants to work next week, extra work, there's plenty of work. You can pretty much pick the West Marine you want to go to, and you can work next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Normally we say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but that week, if you want it, it's there. But West Marine's sitting on a ton of inventory. It might not be in the store, but it's in their DC, and they can transfer from one store to the other. They've got radar bundles. They've got CMAP Reveal and Discover. They've got Evo 3s and 3Ss. They've got MFDs. They've got FFDs for B&G. We've got some B&G Vulcan 9s on the way to them. We are hurting on the Triton gauges, though. That's one thing we are a little hurting on, the 4-inch by 4-inch Triton gauge. We're a little low on them, but they've got enough to get by on for now. In the Simrad world, the Go 12 is now networkable if you do the new software update. Keep in mind, only the 12. The 9 and 7 is not networkable. But the 12, if you do the new software update, if a customer gets two 12s, yeah, you can network them. So for the Simrad guys out there, if you know your Simrad product, if a customer's networking, I still would encourage you to do everything in your power to get them into Evo 3s or 3Ss. That was what was designed for original networking. The 12s can do it. There's some of the boat builders that are using it out there. Again, West, we're their biggest feeder of inventory right now. You don't see a lot of Humminbird at West Marine. You don't see a lot of Lowrance. West Marine is driven by Simrad, Gray Marine, and Garmin. It's saltwater driven. We are going back in West Marine with Elite FS and Elite the 9s and the 7s. You will see them in the stores, but they're driven by Simrad. That's our bread and butter in them stores. And I really appreciate you guys that are printing off these CMAP card signs and putting them in the stores. That goes a long way as we're trying to promote CMAP. Again, we've got some really good reviews from the CMAP Reveal out of Florida. And as we get it in more hands out there, and West Marine's in the same position. We've actually got some seminars in Florida. We did one last week, and we're going to be doing some more seminars. So in our key areas, the seminars, getting seminars is what West Marine thrives. We'll get 10, 15 people into a discussion, into a little mini seminar, and then 2-3 weeks later they come in and they buy. So again, we're getting out of the COVID world, getting back in. West has inventory. So the store says I don't have it. It's in a DC. They can call what they call a hub store. It's there. They can get it. Again, if you're working in a West, let me know. I can pull inventory and tell you what's there, what's not there. Or if you've got that customer says, hey, I'm building my boat, get me on the phone, I'll find it for you. Again, West, hot and heavy. And if you want to work next week, let it rip. For you guys that are doing the academy locations, this is, we've got some good feedback on it. I know this was different. If you could have seen what some of these counters look like when our ProStaff first got there compared to what they look like 90 days later, we've made some good progress. We're going to keep going with the game plan at the academy for the select locations. Some of you have reported that you're seeing an increase in inventory. That's great. You guys are going to see something come out for me, if not this week, the first of next week. And it's going to be a little survey that I'm sending out with some questions on what you saw. If for some of you guys that have been visiting the stores for the entire 90 days, what you saw when you first started compared to what you see now, as you know, putting together a little brief for my team here. But we're doing, I like what we're seeing here. Yes, it's a far cry from a Bass Pro or Cabela's, but they like where they're going, and we've gotten some good feedback from the management teams as well as the buyer on just 90 days. Remember, no pro staff's ever visited an academy. And in 90 days, we took it from where there was not even one piece of electronics on the counter to not only that we're getting it on the counter, but we're seeing some hooks go out. It's going to be a while before they get Ghost and Active Target. That's not going to happen this year. I mean, we're doing what we can to make sure Bass Pro, Cabela's, and everybody else gets it. So it's not going to be this year. But that's not saying that next year Academy doesn't get a little bit bigger, that they get a little more inventory, and hey, we get a Ghost in there, we get Active Target. They want Active Target. It's not that it's just that, you know, we've got such big back orders on getting Active Target out there. So it's the guys that are doing Academy, keep doing what you're doing. There is, and I should have put a picture in it, a picture in here. When you go to an Academy store, for you guys out there in the Midwest where these stores are at, and actually they go through the Gulf up to South Carolina, they have what's called a rebate tree. It's a stand at the front doors or by the exit doors where they put all their recalls and rebates. Go make sure we're always current on that display, that all of our rebates are current, takes down anything that's old. And if you've got copies of new put up, anytime you do photocopies or anything like that, you guys know you can send in an expense report on it. We'll take care of you on it. But just make sure that the rebates look good and all that. Go back through my notes here. Again, we talked about West getting the signs up on the displays. They're decent on inventory. We've had very good sales weeks there. I think I've gone over Bass. I have pretty much covered the topics that I felt we needed to kind of go over tonight. I wanted to back off training just to kind of go over, you know, some of these things. Visit plans. When we send you visit plans or we send you requested promo mesh, it's a big help to Steph. She single-handedly has to go through every one of them. Accept it or don't accept, or accept it pretty quick. If we send a date that says, hey, we want something the weekend of 3, 4, or 5, 6, or we say, you know, you can't do 3, 4, but you get, before you decline that visit, call Steph. There is flexibility in the visits. Hey, Chris, I can't do this weekend because the kid's playing softball, but the other 2 weekends I'm open. 9 times out of 10, we will let you switch that visit. Promo mesh is a little restricted. We just can't put broad ranges in there. We have to pick a date. Now, there are going to be some times in the notes where we specifically say it must be this weekend. For example, Spring Fishing Classic, West Marine Triple Reward Points, stuff like that. But the majority of the time, there's a lot of flexibility. So, hey, I really want to work, but I can't do those dates. Call Steph and let her know, and we can switch those dates to what you can do. If you can't do something, let us know. Or don't accept, and if you accept the visit and something comes up, let us know. Things happen. Car broke down, dog got sick. Hey, I get it. Let us know. What I don't want to find out is I assume that we had a pro staffer in the store, and then 2 weeks later I found out we didn't. So just stay in contact with us. Make sure you check in your emails, the newsletter when it comes out, and any questions, you know, let us know. The ProStaff email box, Steph and I both have access. Steph has more access to it than I do. as I am out and about on the road a lot. But by all means, if you need something, call me. Hey, Chris, I got a question on putting A and B together, or can I do this versus that? We are very flexible with the ProStaff visits. So work with us. We'll get it tweaked in. Again, West Marine is a little more flexible. We're in Bass Pro, or Bass Pro is typically a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. West Marine, especially in the large coastal locations, man, almost any day of the week except Monday or Wednesday on. We try to go Thursday on, especially during the fishing season. It's when we do our best. Thursday evenings have always been really good, in a West Marine, doing a little get together or anything along the lines like that. But again, just work with us, let us know. But the quicker you accept the assignment, the quicker I can send more assignments out. I send the assignments in groups. So I send the first group out, which are first group of priority stores that, we want to get hit. Once I know they're set, hey, I got room, I can send 35, 40 more pro staffers out. Then I can send another group out. Right now, we're also getting a lot of the new guys out. We've got a lot of new guys that we're bringing on, and, we've slowed down, so we're getting some guys some work. Some of you have taken some new pro staffers with you to kind of break them in, because some of you have kind of said, Chris, I need a break. Some of you, I think there's a few of you on this call that have worked almost every weekend since the beginning of the year. So there's plenty of work. I can tell you, if we, going into next year, if you think you had work this year, wait till you see next year. So that's why we're reaching out and bringing on some more guys, because the work's going to increase even more next year. We see this business growing. This is going to be the next couple years. The boating business is the business to be in right now. It's not going to fade off for anytime soon. You'll see some shifts from new boats to used boats and back to new boats, but you're not going to, this is going to be a great ride for the next couple years. If you got people you'd like to recommend for the pro staff, we're always looking. I'm really looking for key areas, and I'm looking for guys that can work saltwater. Okay, I love to increase that team more. If you guys are living in areas, if you're predominantly working Bass Pros and Cabela's, I know some of you are landlocked, I get it. But if you're in areas where there's salt water and there's some West Marine locations, if you're willing to learn Simrad, you can pretty much make a lot of money. You could almost work every day. And that's because West Marine is so dynamic when they're up and running. I know up in the Northeast, we got that thing called snow. Under 10 feet of snow is a little bit different, but the rest of the country, when West Marine's up and running, they're firing on all cylinders. But their predominant product is Simrad. And if you understand the basics of Lowrance, you're going to understand the basics of Simrad. Again, we had a course, and if you'd like, we can do it again, where we went over radar and we went over autopilot. There are the two things that just get a little crazy. Radar is not that hard, but autopilot. And if you get into sailboat world, yeah, autopilot you can pull your hair out on. And that's, again, use me for that. You get in a West Marine and here comes the guy with the notebook, hey, get me on the phone. I will walk you through it and we'll help you with that customer. But anybody, you guys got any recommendations? We'd like to get a couple more guys on. Believe me, it's not taking work away from anybody. A lot of you are begging, Chris, I need a break. And so we're trying to get you guys some help, and we're going to go at an even faster pace this time next year. So anybody you got recommend, let me know, give them the application. They can go on the line to the Navico ProStaff page, tell them to use your name as a reference. Somebody told one guy to use my name. Well, I didn't know the guy. Tell them to use your name, and then I'll call and ask you about them, and we'll get them on. But if anybody that wants to learn Simrad, and anybody lives close to West Marine, you can write your own tickets. That's where the heart of the work is when we get into this time of year. So with that, I know Steph is out this week. I don't have anything. She just wanted me to pass on, make sure you accept your promo mash assignments and or call us so we can work with you. With that, I do not have anything else really to go over tonight. Anybody got anything out of the ordinary they've seen or heard in the field, or anything? We all we all hear rumors, and anybody got anything good? Nobody got anything, huh?
Hey, Chris, this is Rob Jasper. I know
Hey,
at
Rob.
Bass Pro Shop this past weekend, he said he had 2 hummingbirds in stock. I don't know what models they were, but he said he had 2 and that was it. So their inventory's low.
Yeah, there's counters that I've went to. Oh, when I was out there visiting the stores in Texas, they were low. But when I went out, it was Bossier City back in May. This was back in May when I was out there with our ProStaff guys, and there was one hummingbird on the whole marine counter. Does anybody heard of anybody seen or anybody seen anybody from hummingbird or Minn Kota out and about?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
Chris, one of my Bass Pro stores told me that Garmin told them that it was going to get a lot worse for them in the next coming months than what they're seeing now.
Yeah, it's kind of what we're heard. That was where I got the 8 to 12 weeks from. That was one of their guys. It's not a pretty picture anywhere. There's some things I wish we had. If we had active targets and Ghost, I don't know what our number would be right now. It would be insane. It's where we're fortunate where we make our stuff in Ensenada that we can get it right across the border into San Diego and get it into stores. We're one of the few manufacturers that makes everything ourselves. We don't depend. We have to depend a little bit on overseas, but we're fortunate as to where we are with that factory, and that's a long way for us right there.
Okay, I'm really not comfortable with all this, how I have to talk to people, but I do have a question when it comes to, we don't have any Lowrance units that are in Pensacola or any of the West Marine stores that I service. What do I need to say to customers? I can't hear you.
You're muted, Chris.
Chris, we're not hearing you.
Yeah, it's not good.
Hey, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear you? Can you hear me?
So the question was getting Lowrance into West Marine, correct?
Yeah, they're all gone. So I work a hub store every Friday.
Okay. Well,
and there is no Lowrance units at all.
That's because Lowrance West Marine is predominantly Simrad.
Correct, and that's why I'm servicing those stores. And so then I go to Bass Pro at Spanish Fort, and they have no Simrad units. I can sell the heck out of those Simrad units because we are at a Gulf Coast. We're a Gulf Coast, right?
We have there is some bad there's let me go back. West Marine is predominantly Simrad saltwater driven.
Correct.
They have agreed to go back into the Lowrance market with the Elite FS9 and the FS7 as we can get the inventory to them.
Okay, good.
Is predominantly, and remember, they work off of a retail model. What one store has, they all have. Now,
I get it.
we do have in Florida a select group of Bass Pro Shops that would be the top performing Bass Pros to carry Simrad product.
Right.
Hold on a second, I got an echo again. Hold on. Can you put your phone on mute for a minute?
Mine?
Yeah.
I'll just shut it off. Is that better?
That's better. There we go. So we've got 4 stores, the 4 big saltwater stores in Florida, which are Port St. Lucie, Fort Lauderdale, Fort Myers, and Tampa. They are the biggest Bass Pros in Florida.
I get it. I get it completely.
They are carrying Simrad for the first time this year. They are carrying the full line assortment. It was deemed by the buyer, by us. We may look at Bass Pros around the Gulf or around the coastal area.
Right.
It's something that Bass is looking at.
Okay, I have headphones on, so it's hard to hear that. Anyway, we can talk about this another day, but I just see so many customers that come into Bass Pro at Spanish Fort, Alabama, that are looking for Simrad products.
And that's good to know. That's good to know. And again, it's something that we're looking at. We're testing it out with 4 big stores first.
Right, and I don't want to take up anybody else's time that's on this call, but legitimately, the crossover between Lowrance and Simrad, between fresh and saltwater, I've been able to breach that. So you can have a Simrad in Arkansas, you can have a Lowrance in the Gulf of Mexico. But if you don't have the product to display on the sonar bar, I can't do that.
Yep, I fully get it. And
Perfectly, thank you.
About it. I'll go over.
Perfectly, I would appreciate a phone call. That would be great.
Yeah, I'll go over the marketing plan with you.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right. Anybody got anything else? We're getting close to the top of the hour, and I like to try to keep it to about an hour.
Can I give a shout out to my best friend, Al Bassett?
I think he heard you.
Yes,
No,
I
know.
did.
I just have to laugh
Hallie.
because Al and we just go back and forth, and I think this is as you hire new pro staffers that you have to have allies on either side of our team. So if you have B&G, Lowrance, and you have Simrad, like I'm a huge Simrad person, right? Obviously, everyone knows that. And Al is a big Lowrance person. So if I'm standing in a store and I talk to a customer and I don't have the answer to the question, I can call Al and he will pick up my phone call in 2 seconds. And I can answer the question, and it just improves our brand and he does the same with Simrad. So we're not competitors, we're all allies.
And all of you guys feel free to use other pro staffers. I love the networking you guys do. I love on some of the Facebook channels where the questions I'll see asked, and before I can even get to it, 5 pro staffers have already beat me to it. So that's a good thing. So,
yeah, it's awesome. It's a family. It's a family.
I love the networking out there. But again, if there's ever any doubts about anything, don't be afraid to call somebody. Don't be afraid to call myself. Don't be afraid to call Steph when you're out there. All right. If there is nothing else, I will give everybody the rest of their evening back. Again, thank you for what you guys do for us. It's been a great ride, and I see this ride continue. Keep up with the creativity out there. We got the whole summer to go, and before you know it, we're going to be back. So, you know, we're going to be in 2022, and it starts all over again. So thanks, everybody, for what you do. And with that, I wish you all a very good night. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Good night, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Have a good night, bud.
All right, thanks, everybody.